everyone, today I'll be showing you how to crochet this teddy bear trinket tray. It's like any trinket tray, but it's got a cute little teddy that looks like it's hiding under a blanket. So I hope you enjoy. For materials, we're going to be using some pink 10-ply yarn for the body of the trinket tray, and some white and brown 8-ply yarn for the teddy bear pillow and the teddy bear itself. When working with the 10-ply yarn, we'll be using a 4mm crochet hook, and with the 8-ply yarn, we'll be using 1.75mm crochet hook or a 4/0. We're first going to start by making this trinket tray and blanket. Starting to make the blanket first. It's going to look like a half moon shape, and we're going to knit it into the tray. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to start by making a magic ring. So if you follow my movement, taking the tail end up, and when you've created a wrap like this with the tail end here and the rest of the yarn here, pull it a little bit tighter. Now taking our 4mm crochet hook, we're going to go underneath this first string on top of this second string. We're going to turn the hook to pick up this second string and then turn the hook again to face it forward. Then we're going to pick up this string and pull it through here. Like that. Oop, like that. And then we're going to chain 1 and chain 2. Now I'm going to make 4 double crochets. So picking up yarn, going under here, picking up the yarn, pulling through. There are 3 loops now. We're going to pick up the yarn, pull through 2, pick up the yarn and pull through again. And that's 1 double crochet. So repeating that 3 more times. Two, 3, 4. Okay, now we are going to pull this string like that. Okay, and now we are going to chain 2, and we're going to turn the work. So instead of going around, we're going to turn the work and start working back. So we're going to do 4 double crochet increases. So that means 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets into the first stitch. Okay, and then to the second stitch here, we're going to do another 2 double crochets. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. Okay, and then we're going to continue this for the next 2 stitches. Now we're going to do 1 more double crochet increase into the chain space. So the chain space is the area that's made underneath the chains. So if you remember earlier when we made the magic ring, we did 2 chains before doing our first double crochet. These are the chains and this is the chain space. So into here we're going to do 2 double crochets or a double crochet increase. And that will leave us with 10 double crochets in total for this row. So see how it's starting to make a bit of a semicircle shape. And same as before, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to this time follow the pattern of double crochet, increase. So in our first stitch, which is here, we're going to do a double crochet. And in the second one, we're going to do a double crochet increase, so 2 double crochets into the same stitch. It's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. Okay, and we're going to continue this all the way around. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, For the last row, we will be doing a very similar pattern. So 2 chains, turn the work. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets, then a double crochet increase, and repeat that pattern 5 times. So this is the first double crochet, second double crochet, and then a double crochet increase or 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1 and 2. We're going to repeat that. So double crochet, double crochet, 2 double crochets into the same stitch or a double crochet increase. Now you should be left with this semicircle shape. You can fasten it off. So what I like to do is just chain 1, cut here, and pull it through. There you go. And then now I will be hiding these 2 ends using a diamond needle. So just threading it through. You can choose either side to be the front side. I prefer this side, so I'm going to hide these on this side. To hide the tail end, you simply just pop it wherever you like. I'll just go through here, ideally where it's not too obvious. So like that, no one can see it. And then if you go back through some different stitches, and then once you're happy it's secure, you can honestly just cut it. So I would be happy with that. And I just cut it here, and it's gone. And repeat that here. So I couldn't be bothered doing this part, and I decided I'm going to hide it when I join the 2 pieces together. So I'll show you how to do that. So popping this aside for now, we're going to work on the trinket tray basket. So again, starting with a magic ring, we're going to make a magic ring of 12 double crochets. So because we're doing double crochets, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then 12 double crochets. Okay, so my 12 double crochets are done, and we're going to be working in a loop this time rather than turning our work. So I'm going to pull this tight, and then you'll form a circle. And I start every round by slip stitching and chaining 2. So we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, and I'm going to hide this tail end by popping it on top of my work. So I'm going to slip stitch, pull tight, chain 2, 1, 2. And then I'm going to do 12 double crochet increases all the way around. So starting in the first stitch that we did the slip stitch into, we're going to do 12 double crochets. So 12 double crochet increases, sorry. That's 1 double crochet increase, and we're going to go all the way around. So this will be in the second. So 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So we'll end up with a total of 24 stitches going all the way around. Okay, so I've completed the second round, and because we're working with more stitches now, it could be good to start counting the stitches to make sure we've got the right amount. So there are 2 ways that I like to count my stitches. Firstly, you can turn the work and count these V-shaped items. For example, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Or you can actually start looking at the stitches, which is a bit faster, but it does take a second for your eyes to get used to. So if you look here, you can actually see there's 1, 2 stitches coming out of 1 stitch. And we know we need 12, we did 12 increase stitches. So this is 1, and that's 2, you can see there, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then this extra part here, we know that this is the chain. So we know this is the slip stitch we did to join the round, and then we did 2 chains, so we can ignore those. So that's And you can actually see that there's 2 stitches coming out of the 1 stitch. You'll get used to it, and then you'll easily be able to tell if you've done 3 or just a single double crochet into a stitch. So moving on to the next round, we are going to again slip stitch into the first stitch. So ignoring this chain, we're going to go into the first stitch, slip stitch, pulling tight, and then we're going to chain 2. And then now we're going to do single crochet, double crochet increase all the way around. So starting with a double crochet into the first stitch that we did the slip stitch in, double crochet, and then 2 double crochets into the same stitch here. Cool. And then so double crochet, and then double crochet increase, or 2 double crochets into the same stitch here. And we're going to do that all the way around. We'll end up with 36. Okay, so I've completed my 3rd round, and I think this might be a better example as to what I was talking about with counting the stitches. So as you can see here, there's clearly 2 stitches coming out of the 1, and then here there's 1 stitch coming out of the 1 stitch, and then you can see there's 2, there's 1, there's 2, there's 1. So you can just follow the pattern 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and it's a much faster way of counting your stitches. 2, 1, 2, 1. Perfect. Than actually going and counting them. Yeah. Now we are going to close the 3rd round by making a slip stitch and 2 chains as we normally do. And in this 4th round, we're actually going to join the blanket into our work. So the part we want to be the top of the blanket, we want to face that out from us, and then we're going to align the stitches here. So this is my first stitch, and this is the first stitch of the blanket, and we're going to work down both of these at the same time, following the pattern 2 double crochets, double crochet increase. So that means a double crochet into the first stitch, which is here, and I said I wanted to hide this tail, so I'm just going to do that at the same time. So that's 1 double crochet, good, and it goes through both pieces. And then for our next stitch, it's another double crochet into the next stitch, so double crochet, oops, and then a double crochet increase, so 2 double crochets into the same stitch for the next one. Make sure you don't skip any stitches, especially on that back piece. And so we've got 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, double crochet increase, and we're going to continue this pattern all the way around. Alright, now that we have crocheted between all of the blanket, we should be ending on a double crochet, and our next stitch should be a double crochet increase. And then we're just going to continue that pattern all the way around. So that's my double crochet increase. I'm going to do 2 double crochets and then a double crochet increase. 1, 2, double crochet increase. And on this side you can see how the blanket creates this little opening, and it's pretty seamless because we're crocheting between the 2 parts at the same time. And we're just going to continue the pattern all the way till we get to the end. Finish our round now, again starting the next round with a slip stitch into the first stitch and 2 chains. And for this next round we're going to do 3 double crochets and then a double crochet increase. So double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet increase. So in our first stitch, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, and then a double crochet increase. As you can see, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet increase, and we're going to go all the way around. Okay, this is the finished 5th row. So now we're going to do something different, and we're going to start working upwards to make the walls of the tray. So again though, finishing with a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1. Now instead of working around, we're going to start working up, as I said. So we're going to start working into the back loops. So if you look closely, you can see every stitch makes sort of a V shape. The side of the V closer to you, that's the front loop, and the one further from you, that's the back loop. So we want to be just working into these back loops here. And we're going to be working in single crochets now. So starting with our first stitch, we're going to insert into the back loop. So if you insert to the middle of the stitch and then go into the back, we're going to do a single crochet, so pulling through and then pulling through both. Okay, so into our next stitch, inserting into that back loop, pulling up a loop, and then pulling through both. Inserting into that back loop, pulling up a loop, pulling through both. And we're just going to make our way around like this. So it'll be 60 single crochets into the back loops only. So I finish the round into the back loops. I'm going to start the next round. So again, slip stitching into the first stitch. Now this may look a bit confusing because we've moved into the back loops. So my first stitch is actually this one here, although this one kind of looks like a first stitch. That's actually, so this is the slip stitch and this is the chain that we made at the end of the last round. And so that's our first stitch here. So just be careful into going into the right stitch. Now we're going to do a slip stitch, pull tightly, chain 1, and then now we're just going to work all the way around with single crochets into each stitch. So just working into the whole stitch with single crochets. Okay, so the last round has been finished. I'm going to finish it by putting a slip stitch into the first stitch as usual. But this time I'm just going to cut, pull through, and then to create an invisible seam, I'm going to insert my crochet hook under the next stitch. I'm going to pull this tail that I just created through, and then I'm going to pull the tail back through the stitch that it's coming out of, which is this one, and that creates that. And then I'm going to get my needle and tuck this away somewhere in there. Now our trinket tray part is done. Now we've just got to make the teddy and the pillow. To be honest, if you already have a little plushie or something, you can pop in here. Like I could get my little Melody and put her in. And it's just cute. But I will show you how to make the pillow and the bear. So now we're going to make the bear head and the pillow. I'm super lazy, so I literally just make a head and arms and stick it at the top. So starting with the pillow, we are going to make a chain of 6. So starting with a slip knot. So what we do is we get the tail end of our yarn, cross it at the top so the tail is on top, then we bring the tail behind, and then you get this circle that's been halved. And then with our 4/0 crochet hook, we're going to pop it underneath everything except for that tail, and we're going to pull. Nice. Now we are going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we are going to skip 1 and then do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, sorry. And then in our last stitch we'll do an increase stitch, so 2 single crochets into the same stitch. 1, 2, and then we're going to repeat that pattern going back, so 4 single crochets and then an increase, so first single crochet, second single crochet, third, fourth, and lastly an increase. Okay, for our second round we're going to start with a slip stitch, so inserting and pulling through, then we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet into every stitch going around, so 12 single crochets in total for this round. 1, now that we've reached the end of our round, we're going to end it as we normally do, so slip stitch into the first stitch, followed by a chain, and then we're going to repeat this until we get to row 7, so just single crochets all the way around. So this is finished row 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starting on row 8, we're going to start with a slip stitch into the first stitch, a chain, and then 4 single crochets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by a decrease. So to do a decrease, you essentially take the 2 front loops of the next 2 stitches, so we'll pick up this front loop and the front loop of the stitch after, and then pull through both loops and then pull through both, and that's how you do a decrease. And so moving on to the next stitch, we're going to do 4 single crochets, so 1, and then a single crochet to the next, 2, and to the next, 3, and 4, and we're going to finish on a decrease, so pulling up the front loops of the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, pulling through and pulling through both. Cool, and that's how we're going to make our pillow. So to finish off, I'm going to go through this first stitch and do a slip stitch, pull tight, and then I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut maybe a 10 centimeter tail so I can sew the end of the pillow shut. Yep. What's happening? Okay, and I'm just going to pull this through. Then using a darning needle, I'm just going to sew this shut like that. Just going to go like here. Yeah. This pillow looks like this. Then I'm gonna just hide this. There you go. And that's how you make a little pillow. Popping our pillow aside, we're going to make the bear now. So with some brown string, we're gonna make a magic ring. Of 4 single crochets, making a magic ring. We're just going to chain 1 and then 4 single crochets. Oops. One, 2, 3, 4. As usual, we are going to do a slip stitch into the first stitch, which is this one here. Because we're working with so few stitches, it can get a little bit tricky. Do a slip stitch, pull tightly, chain 1, and then we're going to do an increase into that same stitch. So 1, 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and then an increase into the next stitch as well. So to here. Yeah. 1, 2, and then an increase as well. So essentially we're doing 4 increases, an increase in every stitch. Just here. 1, 2, and then our final increase. Final increase into the last stitch, which is here. 1, 2. For this row, we're going to start with a slip stitch followed by a chain. Okay. And for this row, we're going to do single crochet increase, single crochet increase. So single crochet into the first stitch, an increase, or 2 single crochets into the next stitch. 1, 2, single crochet, increase, I finished row 3, and to start on row 4 we're going to do it slightly differently to how we've previously started rows. So we are starting with a slip stitch into the first stitch, but we're not chaining, and we're going to start by working into the next stitch. So we're going to start with a single crochet, and then a half double crochet into that same stitch. Oops. And then a double crochet into the same stitch again. So within this stitch, you've got a single crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet. Into our next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet, and a slip stitch into the same stitch as the half double crochet. Okay, and that's our first ear. So we're going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch as well, followed by another slip stitch, and into that same stitch as that most recent slip stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet as well. Into the next stitch, we're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to do a half double crochet into the same stitch as that double crochet, and a single crochet into that same stitch. So essentially this ear is just a mirroring of that ear. We're going to slip stitch to the next stitch, And then we're going to do 6 slip stitches to get all the way across again. So 1, 2, 6. Okay, so we've got the outline of the bear's face and the mouth is a little bit 3D. Now for our next row, we are going to work only into the back loops. So we are going to start by going into the back loop of the first stitch and doing a slip stitch. Okay, pulling it tight, we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to do single crochets into all of the back loops around the bear's head. So into this back loop, 1 single crochet, into this next back loop, 1 single crochet, and we're going to do this all the way around. Okay, into all of the back loops. And completing that row, we're going to start the next one by slip stitching into the first stitch and pulling through. Okay, and this time we are going to do a chain as we did previously, and now we're going to do a whole row of decreases. So working into the first stitch, we're going to pick up the front loop and the front loop of the second stitch, pick up a yarn, pull it through those 2 front loops and then pull it through both. That's a decrease, and we're going to go decreases all the way around so we can get our bear's head to be round like this. So working on to the next 2. Okay, so we've done our decreases all the way around. The front should start looking like this. You can see the little ears and the face. What we're going to do is, to finish off, we will slip stitch into the first stitch. And then we're going to cut a reasonably long tail, maybe 10-15 centimeters. Pull through. Okay. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to thread this. And then I'm just going to thread it through all of the front loops like this. And I'm not going to pull anything yet, just threading it through like so. Just threading it through all the front loops. And when you reach back to the start, you want to get a little bit of stuffing and put it into the head. And you can use the back of a crochet hook to help you. Okay, and then we're gonna pull this a little bit to start closing the hole. Pull, okay, and then pull it a little bit. Make sure you're stuffing as you go. If you've put too much in like me, see how the front looks and if you're happy with it. Okay, and then just pull this tight. There you go. Honestly, it doesn't matter how this looks because this will be facing down, so whatever. Okay, and then just hide this end into the work. Okay, so this is the bear's head and this is the pillow. Now we just need to make the arms. So to make the paws, we're going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. We are going to skip 2 and make a puff stitch. So essentially a puff stitch is 4 unfinished half double crochets. So to do that, we will yarn over, and we're doing it into the 3rd stitch. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3 into this stitch. Pull up a loop, and that's 1 unfinished half double crochet. We're going to do a total of 4, so 3 more to go. That's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to yarn under and pull through everything. So just be careful here. Okay, and then we're going to do 6 single crochets. So insert into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and in our final stitch we're going to do another puff stitch. So yarning over and inserting into the stitch, pulling up a loop, and doing this a total of 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pulling through everything. Careful. Okay, and then we're going to finish this with a slip stitch just to hold it. And essentially that's the paws. So they just look like that. It's very simple. So I'm going to fasten off here and cut. And I'm going to hide these 2 yarns with my darning needle. So lastly, we've just got to join everything together, and I'm just going to be using some hot glue. So you start by joining the hands to the pillow, just down here. Okay, and then I'm going to join the paws down there. Ta-da! And then that's going to go there like that. Gonna glue this onto here. So put some glue here. We want the head to be. Then I'm gonna just pop it in place. Good. Okay, and then that just goes there. And then make sure to put it in the right place. Just here. And then lastly, you want to glue this so then no one can see that the hands are only tiny. So you want to glue this over just a little bit. And there you go, Teddy Bear Trinket Tray. So hopefully you have a cute little trinket tray now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. But otherwise I'll see you in the next video.